New York City, 1956. The Rosenwald Memorial Tournament. The room is filled with cigarette smoke and the heavy silence of deep concentration. The strongest masters in America are here. At one board sits Donald Byrne. He is a distinguished university professor and one of the most aggressive chess masters of his time. He expects to win. Sitting across from him is a 13-year-old boy. He is wearing a striped t-shirt and sneakers. He looks like he should be at a playground, not at a prestigious tournament. His name is Bobby Fischer. At this moment, nobody knows that this boy will become the greatest player in history. To Byrne, he is just a child to be taught a lesson. But Bobby Fischer didn't come to learn. He came to create art. Byrne plays white. He opens with knight to f3. Fischer responds with knight to f6. Byrne plays c4, and Fischer replies with g6. We are entering the Grunfeld defense. Now, let's pause and look at the philosophy here. In classical chess, you push your pawns to the center immediately. But Fischer is playing hypermodern chess. Byrne claims the center with d4, and Fischer castles. He allows Byrne to build this massive pawn wall. Why? Because Fischer plans to attack that center from the sides, like a sniper. The pressure builds. Byrne moves his queen to b3, attacking the d5 pawn. Fischer decides to trade, opening the position. He solidifies with c6. Byrne feels comfortable. He is expanding, bringing his army forward. He brings his rook to the center, and Fischer develops his knight to b6, kicking the queen. The queen retreats to c5, and Fischer brings his bishop out to g4. Look at the board now. Both sides have developed. The tension is sky high. But here, on move 11, the master makes a psychological mistake. He plays bishop to g5. He moves the same piece twice in the opening. He wants to complicate the game, thinking the 13-year-old will crack under pressure. He is neglecting his own development to set a trap. But Fischer doesn't crack. He punishes. Fischer plays knight to a4. Wait. Beginners are always taught that knights on the rim are dim. Why put the knight on the edge of the board? Because Fischer sees geometry, not rules. From a4, the knight attacks the queen and prepares to jump into the key square c3. Byrne moves his queen to a3, and Fischer captures on c3. Knight takes c3. Byrne recaptures with the b pawn. Now look at the board. White has a strong center. His pieces are active. It looks like Byrne is winning. But there is one major problem. The white king is still in the center, uncastled, vulnerable. Fischer smells blood. He plays knight takes e4, grabbing a central pawn and blowing open the e-file for his rook. Byrne realizes things are getting dangerous. He tries to kick the knight, but Fischer ignores the threat and continues his development. Byrne attacks the queen, but Fischer counters by taking a pawn and pressuring the center. Now, Byrne plays bishop to c5. Look carefully. He is aiming straight at Fischer's queen on b6. Fischer responds with rook to e8, check. The king moves to f1. Now, Byrne thinks he is safe. His king is tucked away. Whatever Fischer plays next, Byrne is ready to castle or trade pieces to simplify the game. The crowd is watching. The grandmasters are whispering. They think the kid is in trouble. But Fischer is not looking at the pieces. He is looking at the future. He reaches out his hand and plays the move that shocked the world. Bishop to e6. Let that sink in. Fischer puts his bishop in the line of fire. But look closer. Look at his queen on b6. Byrne's bishop on c5 is aiming straight at it. Did the boy blunder? Did he just lose his most powerful piece? No. Any other player would have retreated. They would have moved the queen to safety. But Fischer calculates that if he saves the queen, he loses the initiative. He loses the attack. So he chooses violence. He ignores the threat completely. He is essentially saying to Byrne, "Take my queen. I dare you." Byrne accepts the challenge. He takes the gift. Bishop takes queen. The audience gasps. The queen is gone. But now, Fischer unleashes the windmill. Bishop takes c4. Check. The king must move to g1. Knight to e2. Check. Again. The king must move to f1. Knight takes d4. Check. The knight jumps away, revealing the bishop's attack again. Do you see the pattern? It is a machine. Check, move, check, move. Fischer is using checks to sweep the board clean. He captures the pawn on d4, then the pawn on c3. He is eating Byrne's army piece by piece, while the white king is helpless to stop it. Finally, the dust settles. Byrne tries to save his queen, but Fischer's rook chases her across the board. And then, the knight captures the rook on d1. Let's pause and count the material. Fischer has lost his queen. Yes, but look at what he has in return. He has a rook, 2 bishops, and a pawn. In terms of raw points, Fischer is actually ahead. But in terms of position, he is miles ahead. His pieces are coordinated like a symphony. Byrne's pieces are scattered and confused. The white queen is too far away to matter, watching the collapse from a distance. The rest of the game is a slow, cold-blooded execution. Fischer doesn't rush. He tightens the noose one move at a time. Fischer's pieces swarm the board like a coordinated unit. No hero moves, just control. His rook invades the second rank and starts swallowing pawns. This isn't greed, it's surgery. Every pawn removed is one less square the king can breathe through. Byrne steps away, trying to find air, but there is no air on this board. The knight joins the feast. It's not even hunting pieces anymore, it's hunting squares. Every jump takes away an escape route. Byrne is forced to trade his last active rook just to stop the bleeding, but trading pieces doesn't save you when the position is already dead. One last desperate check, a final shout in the dark. Fischer doesn't flinch. He simply blocks, and then he takes. Calm. Clinical. It is hopeless. Now look at the coordination. The black pieces control files, diagonals, and the key squares around the king. White still has pieces, but they have no purpose. The queen slides into place like a lock clicking shut. Byrne is suffocating, and then the pawns advance, not to attack, but to seal the exits. The mating net is cast. Fischer even improves his king. No counterplay allowed. Now the final hunt begins. The king is flushed out. Check. The first strike. Check again. He has nowhere to run. Driven to the edge of the cliff, the walls close in. The knight jumps in, forcing the king back into his coffin. One last shove, and finally, the rook delivers the kiss of death. Checkmate. Look at the final image of the board. Byrne's massive army is still there. He still has his queen. But it doesn't matter. Fischer proved that chess is not about how many pieces you have. It is about how active they are. He gave up his queen to catch the king. The 13-year-old Bobby Fischer stood up, shook hands, and walked away into the night. He had just played the game of the century, and the world of chess would never be the same again. This is Kingside chess. If you were in Fischer's shoes, would you have the courage to sacrifice your queen? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more historic games. See you in the next analysis.